Welcome to the Fire Rescue Wellness Podcast Spotlight, where we revisit take-home messages and shine a light on previous FRW podcasts in 10 minutes or less. I'm Lex, AZ's right and left-hand woman, and I churn out these mini episodes for her. Let's go.
Do something today that your future self will thank you for. And again, I've actually been doing this for years, but I never put a name on it. But it's kind of how I operate my life. And I have a couple funny examples about it before we get rolling into how you could potentially use this to simplify your life. So I've been a fire officer since 2014. Math is hard. 9 years. And I remember specifically thinking as a firefighter, wow, it's so awesome that I don't have to be responsible for remembering all of these things like, where's the Knox box? Where's the alarm panel? Where's the room that contains the controls for the elevator? I was so excited not to have to remember that stuff. And then I got promoted, and in one day, I became the person who is responsible for keeping that stuff in check, keeping track of it. And so I remember specifically, I hadn't been an officer very long, maybe a year. And we went to a mid-rise apartment building for occupants stuck in the elevator. And initially, they weren't too riled up, but it took us a bit of time to find the room that contained the elevator controls. And so, and it was not in a logical location, and it was not marked. And so I remember them getting little by little, getting more and more upset, not necessarily at us, but just the fact that they were trapped in an elevator. And so when we finally were able to find the controls and safely release the occupants, I took a little piece of paper and I wrote a note, and I put it in the elevator key box. And the note just said, the elevator controls are located in this little room in the west hallway. And I forgot about it. I never gave it another thought until recently. So now, how many years later, 6, 7, 8 years later, we went to a stuck elevator in that same building. And I was thinking, gosh, I don't remember where that damn room is. And I was so delighted when I opened up that box and found the note from past me that made it so much easier to get our job done that day. So that's one example of something past me did for future me that made my life a lot easier. Here's another example. I mentioned a couple weeks ago about my fridge. I'd been having some serious challenges with my refrigerator. The whole water in the door situation wasn't working. And the basic troubleshooting that I was doing, like simply just trying another filter, that was interesting. I put the second filter on, tried to run the water, and somehow built up pressure in the line, and no water came out. And then when I went to remove the filter, it blew off in my hand, luckily not damaging anything inside the refrigerator, but that was a fun adventure. So I went to the Google machine and I found what I thought was a reputable site for some information on this troubleshooting process. And they said step 1 was to bypass the water filter with the little plug that came with the refrigerator. My friends, I hate saving shit. I hate clutter. I hate parts and pieces. And I know some people save everything. I hate saving shit. But I do remember thinking when I moved into the house, I probably read on it because it actually says on it, do not throw this away. And I remember thinking, where am I going to put this so that I can find it in the future should I ever need it for some unforeseen reason? And so I learned this trick from a coworker. I put it in a little bucket that is labeled parts of stuff and pieces of things. And let me tell you, people, the junk that is in that bucket is so random, but also it's all stuff that I might need at a later date. So I actually was able to fairly quickly locate that plug and insert it, and actually the troubleshooting worked great, and now my refrigerator's back in service. So past me, who really wanted to throw that plug away, also rule follower me, the plug said, don't throw this away, put it somewhere where I could find it in the future. So that made my life a lot easier, because those plugs, actually, if you go online to buy them, they're like $15, which isn't a huge deal, but that would have really annoyed me to pay $15 for that plug.